Now then, Bang a Monkey here for this week's video. Welcome everybody. I think I mentioned last week that I've been struggling with time lately. Lots of things happening, lots of things on, and that my listening time's been quite severely curtailed. So I've been doing those sort of competition things, which I can see from the lack of that many comments that they're not really of much interest to people. But I'm trying to get back on track, but I'm doing so without enough preparation, so bear with me. I might make some mistakes, I don't know. I'm also a bit not 100% because I'm trying to get off the drink a little bit. Me blood sugar's playing up and I've got to get me numbers down, etc. So I'm trying to be good in that score, and it doesn't sit well with me really. So anyway, here goes. So this week's video is about posthumous albums, posthumous, released after people have died. And I've gone through my collection. I've probably missed some. I mean, there's lots and lots of posthumous albums. I didn't want to do more than one for each artist, but I've probably missed some artists that I've got here. But I've got half a dozen to quickly show and talk about. But and I think some of these are the ones you'd sort of expect, some of the most famous rock pop stars that have died and had subsequent releases. So yeah, not really many surprises in this little collection. So it would be really good if anybody, either in the comments or better still with your own video, could maybe do some lesser known recommended posthumous albums. But these are all albums that I think are fantastic albums and are released after the artist has died. And I'm going to go in the chronological order of the order that they died in. And the first one, the first three actually, all died within a month of each other. And one of the albums does contain press cuttings alluding to the fact that three rock stars have all died within a month, although the third one much lesser known than the first two. But the first one I'm going to talk about died in September 1970. This is Jimi Hendrix. And Jimi Hendrix he'd only been known really for 3 or 4 years since he'd come over from America and released his first album and singles, and he'd had 3 studio albums. His last one that was released when he was alive was 1968, Electric Ladyland, the brilliant double album. And this is the album, First Rays of the New Rising Sun, that Hendrix had been working on through 69-70 as a follow-up to Electric Ladyland. But this actual album never got released until 1997. Most of the tracks, this is a double album, most of the tracks, well in fact all of the tracks, had been previously released in one form or another and in one sort of order or another on a whole range of previous posthumous albums that were, if you like, not officially authorised. This is the first one that is authorised by the Hendrix estate, family, whatever that means. So the first one that I suppose that the Hendrix family feel that they had some control over, and they argue represented as close as possible you can get with a posthumous album, the sort of stuff that Hendrix would have wanted to put out. And basically this is a brilliant album. I mean, we don't know obviously whether Hendrix would have put it out in this order, whether he would have tweaked songs, omitted songs. It includes the whole of the Cry of Love album, which I think is a great album in its own right anyway, and then tracks from other, as I say, posthumous albums. I've got them all there, and I think that some of them are really good in their own right. But this compilation And the production on this is really good as well. Hendrix's voice shines a little bit more. His guitar playing is obviously Hendrix. But it's the quality of the songs that gets you, and it just shows you really what a, you know, Hendrix had only just got started with those first 3 albums. There was obviously a lot more to come just by listening to this. So it's a brilliant album. If you're going to get a posthumous Hendrix album, this is probably the one to get. First rays of the new rising sun, and a decent sort of essay about the sort of that period, 69, 70, that recording period inside the cover there. The second one, she died October, just a few weeks after Jimi Hendrix. This is Janice Joplin, who had, I suppose she'd become well known and become big as a sort of blues rock singer with Big Brother and the Holding Company in the late 60s, the sort of psychedelic blues sort of stuff, hippie sort of stuff, and festivals, and she'd made TV appearances, and then she went solo, and this is actually a second solo album that was released, 3 months I think after she died in October 1970. She was the same age as Jimi Hendrix, 27 years old, and died of a heroin overdose, accidental overdose by all guest accounts, I suppose. And so this is Joplin's legacy, and this went to #1. It stayed there for quite a while. It sold millions of copies. And it's a real good album. I think the band are really tight. This is the Full Tilt Boogie band, much tighter than their previous sort of backing bands have been. She wrote a couple of the songs on this album. She sang on all of them apart from the last track on side 1, which she hadn't completed, Buried Alive in the Blues, and she was still to add the backing vocals onto that, but they've left it on as an instrumental. But this is a real tribute, I suppose, to the great rock blues voice that Janice Joplin had. So it's Janice Joplin, Pearl, from it was released early 1971, just a few months after she died in October 1970. The third one also died in October 1970, just after Janice Joplin, and this one is much less well known. This is Baby Huey. He was born originally James Garner, I think. Changed his name to Baby Huey, who was some sort of giant duckling character. And you can see from the photos there, hopefully you can see that, he was a big guy. He was 30 stone when he was at his sort of fighting weight, when he was touring and still playing live a lot. But by the time of his death, he ballooned to even greater, unsustainable weights really, and he had some sort of glandular problem which was linked to the cause of that weight problem that he had. But he also died of I think there was a drugs overdose involved in it, drug-related heart attack, I think was the official sign there. But this is Baby Huey. It's his only album. It was released 4 months after his death, so just after the Janice Joplin album, and it basically sunk without trace. And it's only much more recently, when it's been reissued, that it's got a little bit of attention. And I think it's a fantastic album. It's called The Living Legend, the Baby Huey story, The Living Legend. And he's just a great sort of soul funk singer. The band are really good. It's a joy to listen to. It's produced really well by Curtis Mayfield. He covers a brilliant Curtis Mayfield song on side 2, Hard Times, absolutely brilliant, around racism. At that time of the civil rights movement and everything in America. But fantastic album, fantastic legacy. Another one died far too young, three within 4 weeks, all drug overdose related. Tragic really. The baby Huey story, the living legend. My next one is Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. Double Trouble is sort of backing band. Stevie Ray Vaughan fronted this sort of three-piece blues band, and I don't know, he'd been going about 7 or 8 years. He was widely acknowledged as one of the leading, most influential blues guitarists on the planet. Really, his name was really big. He was a really big name in that time, and tragically, he was playing, I think, with other guitarists. I think I know that Clapton was on the same bill, but other blues guitarists certainly were. In Wisconsin in when was it? I've got a note here. 1990, and it was a sort of remote, sort of ski resort sort of venue, and most of the artists apparently left these venues by helicopter because the roads were, there wasn't much road infrastructure to get in and out of there. And sadly his helicopter crashed within half a mile or so of takeoff, and he and the others in the helicopter died instantly. So this posthumous album is all a sort of compilation of stuff that he'd, I suppose, extra recordings, hadn't made it onto previous albums. And this particular copy is the Analog Productions Acoustic Sounds 45 RPM sort of souped up sound version. The sound is absolutely fantastic. I mean, to listen to Little Wing, his cover of Hendrix's Little Wing, it's just, hairs on the back of your neck stuff. It's absolutely superb. And yeah, just a brilliant exponent of blues guitar, really. Stevie Ray Vaughan. This was actually released, a year or so, I think, after he died, so probably 1992, early 92 or late 91. The Sky is Crying is the title of it. Beautiful album. My next one is the one and only Leonard Cohen in this lovely packaged album, Thanks for the Dance. And Leonard Cohen died in 2016. This was his 15th album. I've got all of them there. Leonard Cohen has never made anything approaching a poor album. They're all fantastic albums, all brilliant lyrics, as you would expect from one of the greatest poets of the 20th century, 21st century. It's really nicely packaged. I don't know whether you can see the sort of gold embossed. I don't know whether it shows up or not in this slide, but this was stuff that Leonard had recorded during the making of his previous album, You Want It Darker, which was year before he died or so. So he died in 2016, but this one was never released until 2019, and his son Adam worked on it and brought musicians in to add to the lyrics that Cohen had laid down, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. It stands up alongside all those other 14 albums. It's just a great album, essential really if you're a Leonard Cohen completist like me. It's not a mishmash collection like some posthumous stuff are. This is a genuine quality album. The first song, What Happens to the Heart, absolutely brilliant. The Night of Santiago, superb. Leonard Cohen, Thanks for the Dance, from 2019, 3 years after he died. My last one, and I'll get called out for this and people will complain, because it isn't really a posthumous album. This is the sort of posthumous album I would want to release. You know, that's if I could sing or write or play or do anything else, which I can't. But what I mean by this is one that I had full control over. And this is David Bowie's Black Star, which, as I say, it's not posthumous. He actually died 2 days, a day and a half after this was released in 2016. And this is Black Star. This is Bowie's 26th album, I think it is. And I would say it's up there, for me, it's up there in his top 5 albums. What a piece of art, and the art extends to the packaging as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know whether you can see the album inside, the star on the front there. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. You probably can't see the writing on there, but it's sort of black on black, just really, really effective. And then this booklet inside is just absolutely stunning. Can you make out the photographs? They're just eerie. I've got shivers going down my spine as I sort of look at this, thinking about David Bowie, clearly knowing that this was his last piece of work, and the effort that he's put into it in terms of the quality of the songs. His singing is superb. I mean, this album is absolutely worth it just for track 1, the title track, Black Star. His singing is gorgeous, the lyrics are just, well, I mean, I suppose he's acknowledging and his impending death, and yeah, it's just beautiful lyrics, brilliant singing, and then really experimental music right up until his death. He's experimenting. It's got a sort of jazzy, trippy, hip-hoppy, drum and bassy, a real mixed feel, brilliant saxophone, you know, innovative free jazz saxophone almost playing in there, and but the quality of this booklet, it's absolutely stunning. I don't think you'll really be able to appreciate it in the light there. It's all black on black, a sort of gloss black on matte black. I'll do that just in case you can see it, but absolutely fantastic as a whole piece of art. And you know, I've said it's in Bowie's top 5. It's my favourite actually. As a whole package, it's just absolutely stunning piece of work. I know it's not posthumous technically, but by the time I heard it, it was posthumous. He could have died 2 days earlier, I suppose. Then it would have been a posthumous album. I don't know what I'm witching on about, but anyway, be really interested to hear any other suggestions for great posthumous albums. Thanks for listening. Sorry I'm ill prepared. Try and do better next time. Cheers. Ta-da.